It was once said that with the right team of people, Kasibba could be a queen. Kasibba is and has always been a queen. Kasibba is a leader, not a follower. She is inquisitive, tactile, and delights in the company of others. She is a sun lover who comes alive in the outdoors and finds great freedom in running and exploring her surroundings. She doesn't use words to communicate, but signs and gestures. Today, Kasibba lives in her own home with her own staff team. She has control of her life and chooses what she wants this to be like. When Changing Our Lives first met Kasibba, she had no ownership of her life. For 25 years, she had been in long-term segregation, spending between 23 and 24 hours a day behind a locked door and interacting with the world through a small window. Kasibba is autistic and was placed in care as a young child. We all experience people letting us down in life, but very few people have failed in the way Kasibba was. It's likely that Kasibba was trafficked into the UK as a domestic servant. She was privately fostered soon afterwards. However, the placement with her foster family broke down, and at age 5, she was moved to a children's home. Soon, her autism and her West African heritage were distorted through racist tropes into labels like savage, wild, and dangerous. At age 7, and despite having no mental health diagnosis, Kasibba was moved to a large, long-stay hospital, and this was where she lived for the next 45 years. Changing Our Lives work with people with learning disabilities and autistic people in locked hospital settings across the country. Often, we are a lone voice fighting against systems that dehumanise people. But with Kasibba, we went in as part of a multidisciplinary team who worked together to challenge the status quo, uphold Kasibba's rights, and demand accountability from a complex system that had woven her into a life where she was paralysed by the myths surrounding her. We worked for 6 years alongside a community learning disability service and other experts to truly understand Kasibba's sensory and communication needs and slowly reframe how she had come to be seen by the medical and clinical teams around her. We were able to challenge both the court and the hospital to think beyond a medical model of support and start seeing Kasibba as someone who was able to live in the community and had a right to do so. Changing Our Lives worked alongside Kasibba over many months to write her person-centred plan, unravelling her identity and getting to the heart of who she is as an individual, beyond the labels and beneath her beautiful black skin. Later, we acted as her rights-based advocate as her case moved through the Court of Protection in a slow and painstaking process that resulted in her finding a home and a support provider in the community. Throughout the process, we kept Kasibba's voice front and centre. A careful plan was created with Kasibba's provider to slowly acclimatise her to life in her new home. But when the time came, Kasibba took leaps into the unknown that surprised everyone. Now Kasibba is queen of her own castle. She spends her days in her garden, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin and indulging in her own existence. She is supported by a team of curious, compassionate, and solution-focused people, and she is stepping into her power, going from strength to strength. Changing Our Lives believe that with the right support and resources in place, no one is too disabled to live an ordinary life. We believe that by sharing stories in our Hospital to Home series that showcase the art of the possible, we can create a chink of light in a system that holds so many people with learning disabilities and autistic people in the dark. But this is not just another story. This is Kasibba's story. It's not ours to own or to share, but learn from it we must. There are many lessons.